what's happening in New Zealand today. Now, I've got a story on the economy today, but to be honest with you, the story TVNZ did was pretty shithouse. They showed a university student who had, a recent graduate who had to live at home because they couldn't afford the cost of living. And then they went on to the story, Chewie, to say about how this particular graduate likes to spend their extra money on concerts, and talked about how she spent $900 seeing Taylor Swift. And I'm just like, this feels like, remember last year we were talking about the cost of living and they went to a fucking diamond ring shop? However, the introduction to that story is pretty interesting, and there is other things to talk about after it. So as weird as it sounds, I'm not going to play you the story. It's actually a terrible story. And like, where's the family struggling from South Auckland or South Dunedin or Porirua or somewhere else? No, it's the student who now, I can't go see Taylor Swift anymore. Sure. First world problems, perhaps. But the introduction to it was quite interesting because it gave out some facts and figures that were released about the economy today. Let's have a look. I like volume.
More Kiwis are set to lose their jobs as the economy continues to tread water. The latest Stats NZ figures showing inflation hasn't budged, steady at 2.2% for the year to December, the same as the September quarter increase.
Now, to be honest with you, that's not terrible news. The 1 to 3 range is what we're aiming for. It's in there. It's not terrible news. There's worse though.
The largest contributor to the annual Consumers Price Index rise, rent, which was up 4.2% and responsible for almost a fifth of the overall rate.
Yeah. Do we have a little downward pressure comment coming out here, Chewie? Is this what we're doing?
No. Like, they solved that. Luxon said that rents were trending down.
Yeah.
Christopher Bishop said that rents were trending down. How can this be true?
Yeah, misprint.
That's probably
you know what it is. I tell you what it is. The graphics department at TVZ have got that arrow the wrong way around, so that's probably what color. It is. Yeah. So yeah, sorry guys, we've given you this is fake news.
You're fake news. You're fake news.
Yeah, because obviously we're wrong. As everyone predicted prior to the election, anyone with any sense, any economist anywhere, bar the one that National kept wheeling out on a blooming trolley. But this government was never going to be able to put downward pressure on rent. And it's not. I put this out today and some people started to be sending images from stories which are anecdotal evidence from landlords going, I might have to drop my rent prices. Well, we'll just stick with the facts at the moment. And the facts at the moment are we are not yet seeing downward pressure on rent. And I'm going to say one other thing, Chewie, because if next quarter it's like down 0.001%, downward pressure on rent also means a meaningful difference. If your rent goes from $600 a week to $595, that's not meaningful. So if it's not meaningful, it's far less attractive. We'll keep seeing what they said in the introduction to this.
While prices are still climbing, inflation remains inside the Reserve Bank's target range of 1 to 3% and is well down from its peak in the June 2022 quarter when annual inflation hit 7.3%.
There are some people screaming about inflation not having gone down any further. As I said about the CPI, that's not bad. That's not bad because that's what they've always aimed for, 1 to 3%. It's in there. I'm not going to criticize that too much other than it being stagnant. They were promising us better. It's still within the target range. Fair play.
This, as the Body Shop NZ, which employs around 70 people, was placed into voluntary administration, and staff at NZME were told around 40 newsroom roles are set to be axed.
Yep, so there you go. Another one of our... Now remember, go woke, go broke, Chewie. Newstalk ZB, New Zealand Herald. Newstalk ZB, New Zealand Herald, going woke, going broke. Remember, this is the only reason that News Hub fell over, go woke, go broke. Well, the biggest, and when I say biggest, by a huge margin, radio station in New Zealand is Newstalk ZB, right? Conservative talk, yada. I know they said NZME, so the newsroom there also services the Herald, other than our darling friend Simon Wilson, seems to mirror Newstalk ZB pretty well. I'm not saying this gleefully. What I'm saying is it's a really hard economy for media, and this go woke, go broke bullshit is utter bullshit. it's a struggling time for media. It's not good.
I've seen
It's not good to have fewer journalists. It's not good to have fewer reporters. It's hitting everybody.
I saw a comment on Instagram from someone saying that it happened because he'd written a letter saying that the Herald's left-wing agenda had got out of control. The Herald's left-wing agenda. Let that one just fucking marinate in your ear holes.
Look,
Just,
and also,
like, it's not a good thing. It's the news desert just growing.
yeah. And look, for people who don't know, I worked at News Talk ZB for, I guess, the best part of 12 years, full time for 7, I think, as a talkback host. So there'll be people I know who are having their jobs, as the government likes to say, disestablished. So this is not good news. You won't see us, you certainly won't see me and Chewie going, yay, go anti-woke, go broke, like so many on the right did, showing pictures. I actually put one in my folder from Twitter, put pictures of empty offices at Newsroom, gleefully rejoicing. This is not good news. It's not good news that News Talk ZB and the Herald have fewer reporters. It's not good news. It's bad news. Bad news for all of us, because the Fourth Estate are the guys who, and girls, guys being plural, where we actually want to hold the powerful to account. Now, some do it better than others, but having fewer journalists overall, it's not a good outcome.
Journalists going bad. Right-wing editorial staff, the guys making the decisions, like, these are still people that are going out and trying to beat each other to stories. They're the people shining the flashlights on the things that our government and our politicians and our big businesses don't want us to see. There's less people running around doing that work. There's less stuff that we're going to know about.
Yeah.
Right wing, left wing, those news gatherers, they are the lifeblood of what we need. So any cuts, like, it's another newsroom culling. It's a very specialized thing.
The story went on from TVNZ to look at the, what do they call it? Like the caucus retreat, the National Party having a caucus retreat. And poor old Melissa Lee, Mikey Sherman bailed her up. How does it feel to be demoted? Let's have a look at what the National Party was answering to the media on at their caucus retreat.
Melissa Lee, your thoughts on being demoted completely as a minister?
Well, as ministers and members of parliament, you serve at the will and the prerogative of the Prime Minister, and it is a decision a bit disappointing, but hey, I've got a lot of work to do as an MP, and I will continue.
She's not the only one a little bruised.
Oh, look, you heard the Prime Minister say on Sunday that he understood my disappointment, so he's already expressed that, but, we pick out...
I think we can say, we did say this on Monday, we were wondering if he had asked to leave because, even for him, the decisions and choices that made had finally caught up to his Hippocratic oath. But this would be a masterful display of acting if that was the case. I mean, that would not only be saying, I'd like to leave, and then have to lie in front of the cameras, I'm disappointed. So I'm going with it. The most likely case is he definitely was pushed. So he was pushed, and he's not that happy about it. Now the question is why, and I think getting the hatchets out is probably somewhat of the answer, Chewie.
Yeah, and we take the privilege that we have to make a difference for New Zealand.
Did you deserve that fate?
Oh, look, that's for the Prime Minister to determine.
There you go. Sorry, Chewie, I cut you off.
I was going to say that the only thing that must be a silver lining for Reti is that he doesn't have to deal with this shit anymore. Like people of all sides of this argument, left, right, that sort of thing, we all need hospitals. And like the feeling down here around the Southern Hospital, it's fury. Like we can see that we're getting ignored.
Yeah.
Reti didn't want to talk to us. Simeon Brown doesn't want to talk to us. Luxon has to sneak in the back door when he comes down here, and he hasn't been back since. Hashtag backdoor Luxon.
No, not hashtag backdoor
Hashtag,
Luxon.
Write it down, people. Hashtag backdoor Luxon. Do you think he's going to come back here? No, they're just going to run out the clock.
Mm.
Like the hospital was spending something like $1 million, $1,010 a week on just hitting pause on this stuff. Like, what bigger signal do you need for your taxpayer money? Remember, they're laser focused on getting value for taxpayer money. The money that they are laser focused in is the money that they are pouring directly into a bonfire while they sit around with their thumbs up their asses about Dunedin Hospital. Everybody knows the answer. The answer is build the fucking hospital.
Let's go on with the story about the caucus retreat that the National Party had.
The Prime Minister deciding he wants faster results in the health portfolio.
Look, in health, it's always a slow ship to turn around, and you always push as hard and as fast as you can, and that's what I did.
Well, look, of course it takes time, but this government and New Zealanders are expecting patient first in the healthcare system.
Except if you speak to anyone in the health fraternity, they will say what you're doing is the opposite. This is the gaslighting that Gary Pinder was talking about last night. This is the gaslighting. They're saying we're putting patients first when they're not. It's an absolute lie. It's an absolute lie. Not at all.
When you use analogies like it's always a difficult ship to turn around, you've got to be careful about how you can turn that analogy around. It is very hard to turn around a ship. It is much quicker just to pull the fucking bunghole out of the bottom of it and sink it.
Yeah. Yep. Very true, Chewie.
The new health minister, Simeon Brown, has a history of opposing abortion rights for women.
Do you believe that a woman should have the right to choose?
Look, I can't in good conscience support legislation which will essentially legalise late-term abortion, which, in my mind, is something which is very, very extreme.
Can you understand why some people may be nervous, given your personal view?
Look, my personal views are a matter of the public record, but we've been very clear we're not changing that legislation. It's absolutely not a priority.
Very, just get the last sentence, just quite quick, important to mention. It's absolutely not a priority. Now, I don't think they're going to touch it. I genuinely don't. I could be wrong, but it's absolutely not a priority, is not going to be touched. Because prior to the election, cancelling smoke-free 2025, I guarantee you, was absolutely not a priority. But then they got in and all of a sudden, they wanted revenue. They found a reason to make it a priority. So even though it may not be a priority today, like I have no priority, Chewie, to get tyres for my car. But as I keep driving it, the priority of getting tyres for my car will increase. The priority will change. And all of a sudden, at some stage, it'll be my number one priority. See what I'm saying?
You don't have to touch the legislation. You strangle the funding. You shuffle these services off into another department that doesn't get as much funding. There is lots of stuff that the Minister of Health can do to fuck with abortion rights. And do we, like, here's my thing. Do you trust these people?
Yeah, that's it.
When he says that it's not a priority and they're absolutely not going to touch it, do you trust them?
Yeah.
Do women trust them? Is it something that we can just roll the dice on?
All right, we've got a ton of super chats coming in. Thanks, guys. But we'll get to the end of the story so we can get to your super chats as well.
Despite Matt Ducie losing 3 of his ministers.
I just say Matt Ducey's response here is not from someone who looks like they're particularly across their own mental health. It's really interesting. No, I don't want to cast aspersions, but someone who's in charge of mental health gets challenged and has a bit of a hissy fit. You kind of go, well, is that the best outburst from someone who's, just watch it for yourself.
Portfolios.
What I've been told is I've been freed up to solely focus on mental health.
He's looking on the bright side.
So look, I'm really excited about the opportunity.
It's a vote of no confidence in you though, isn't it?
That's your analysis, not mine.
As for the new Minister of the South.
Here's your boy, Chewie. Have you heard back from him?
No. Follow-up email going out tomorrow. I won't let him away with it.
One day in the future, when we've got about another 300 patrons, we'll get you a proper BHN email address, and then you'll look all official and stuff. It'd be cool.
you have future leadership aspirations?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No. I have to get
Pretty
my feet
early to
under
roll
the
it out.
table and actually get back down home and make sure I'm a great minister for the South Island.
For the current leader, his focus remains squarely on the economy.
What I hear about from New Zealanders is it's still really tough, and they want to know that there's a pathway to steady economic growth.
So who better to rev up the troops than the rocket man himself?
I think New Zealand's got some real challenges, and we just need to grab those with both hands and make the change necessary.
Those changes
When you
clearly
order
starting
Elon
with
from
National's
Chewie.
own team as its MPs prepare to do the mahi in 2025.
There you go. They're preparing to do the mahi in 2025, apparently. But I guess if it's about outcomes, Mr. Luxon, what will that mahi produce? I guess that's the question. There you go, Chewie. So that's what they're all about, eating their sausage rolls and stuff for the last 24 hours.
What an absolute parade of
Oh,
mediocrity.
I've lost Chewie. I can't hear you.
What?
I don't know if other people have
can't
lost
hear
you,
me?
but I've lost you.
Can everybody
Is
hear me?
somebody going to say in the chat whether we can hear Chewie or not? I can't hear Chewie. Have I touched something? Chewie, give us some
Testing,
love.
1, 2, 3.
I can't hear Chewie. Okay, chat.
One,
Who can?
two,
Yeah.
three.
Oh.
Oh no, they
what,
can hear.
Verizon?
It's all on your end. Yep.
You can hear
Even
her.
our resident piss gargler can hear me. So there's that.
Okay. I think it's just come back. I don't know. It must have been a StreamYard issue. Anyway, back again. Sorry, Chewie.
Okay,
You get onto it.
Cool. I was just saying, what an absolute parade of mediocrity! Like,
Yeah.
like when you get the cabinet reshuffle and that sort of thing, you're like, oh, cool. No, there's no one of any talent anywhere. Nobody's in the right place. Like, remember his whole slogan of "Play your aces." Where are your aces? You're playing your twos. Like, who gives a fuck what Matt Durie is in charge of? Putting Mark Mitchell in charge of ethnic communities. You couldn't write a better joke than that. Like, the upside is people's leaving. Like, people go, oh, Melissa Lee has lost all of her portfolios. Good. She was terrible at all of them. That makes sense. And then a first-term MP having a role created for him to placate the entire South Island, who is breathlessly being talked about as a potential future leader in his first term after proving nothing.
Yeah.
And then even with this portfolio, he's outside of cabinet. What a fucking piss take.